Okay, when the Gemara Kesubos, again, we did get last week to pay Dalet Amid Aleph, but it's in the middle of the Gemara. So we're going to start pay Gimel Amid Beis, 5 lines from the end of the page. In the Shusterman Gemara, it's 83b3. Okay, in the Mishnah there was a discussion. About a husband that says, I have nothing to do with your properties, I have nothing to do. So sometimes the Gemara said, it depends what he says. If he says, I have nothing to do with your properties, he can still eat the fruits. And if she dies, he still inherits her. So why did he write that I have nothing to do with your property? That if she sold the property, it's a sale. Like this, a wife cannot sell the properties. But if she, in this case, he could. Then the Gemara kept going on. He says, I have nothing to do with the fruits of the whole thing. But Rabbi Shimon said that even if a guy writes to his wife, I have nothing to do with you when you're alive, when you're dead, with your properties, then he doesn't even inherit her if she dies. Rabbi Shimon Gamliel says, not true. You can't go against the Torah. Okay? The Torah says he doesn't inherit her, and therefore Rabbi Shimon Gamliel says the bottom line is the husband will still inherit the wife. Okay? That's what the Mishnah said. So Amar Rav said like this. Halacha ke Rabbi Shimon Gamliel. The halacha is like Rabbi Shimon Gamliel that he cannot make a condition against the Torah, but v'lo mitamei, not for his reason. Now Rav was very unclear. Rav said Rabbi Shimon Gamliel is right in the halacha that if the husband says, I have nothing to do with you, your property, when you're alive, when you're dead, nevertheless, when she dies, he still inherits her. Not like the Chachamim that say, no, when she dies, he doesn't inherit her because that's the condition he said. He said clearly, I'm not inheriting you. Rabbi Shimon Gamliel says, you can't go against the Torah. And if you're going against the Torah, your condition is null and void. So Rav said, Rabbi Shimon Gamliel is right in the halacha, but not for the reason Rabbi Shimon Gamliel gives. So Gemara is trying to figure out, my halacha can Rabbi Shimon Gamliel v'lei mitamei. So Gemara is asking, what does that mean? To understand what Rav meant. Rabbi Shimon Gamliel is right halachically, but not for the reason he gave. So he says that Gemara is going to try to figure out what Rav said. If you tell me the halacha is like Rabbi Shimon Gamliel, who says that even if he says I have nothing to do with you when you're alive and you're dead, that if she dies, he still inherits her. That's the din of Rabbi Shimon Gamliel. But not because of the reason. Why? Rabbi Shimon Gamliel says the reason is masna hamasha kosed b'tayra t'noi batul. In the Mishnah, Rabbi Shimon Gamliel said his din. What did Rabbi Shimon Gamliel say? Anytime you go against the Torah, it's null and void. Whether it's monetary or not monetary. Earlier in the Gemara, about 30 pages ago, we learned that Rabbi Yehuda holds in monetary issues, you could go against the Torah. The classic example that we learned, by the way, a long time ago, it says in the Torah like this: when you get married, you have 3 obligations to your wife. She'era, ksusa, va'inasa. She'era is food, garments, and marital relations. Okay? So over there, the Gemara says like this. What happens if the guy marries a woman, and he says, I'm marrying you on the condition, no food, no clothing, and no marital relations. That's what the guy says. So everybody says, for marital relations, he cannot make such a condition. Because that's not a financial thing. It's an obligation a husband has to the wife. As far as food and clothing, Rabbi Yehuda holds, earlier in the Gemara, you can go against the Torah. You can make a monetary condition. The Torah says you have to feed her and clothe her. You can make a condition against it in monetary things. Here, Rabbi Shimon Gamliel says, let's talk about inheritance. Inheritance is a law, it's not a monetary thing. It's a din. You inherit the person. You are instead of the person. So Rabbi Shimon Gamliel says, you can't make the condition that if you die, I'm not going to inherit you, because then you're going against the Torah. So what does Rav say? Not for the reason, because Rav Savad, because really Rav holds to Nor Kayim, that you could make a monetary thing against the Torah. But, so why can't the husband make such a condition? Because Savad, no, it's still at the bottom of the page. Because Savad, Rav holds, Yerushas Habal D'Rabbanan. Inheriting, the fact that the husband inherits his wife is rabbinic. I'll explain this in a second. And the Chachamim also chizuk l'divreihem, and the Chachamim strengthen their enactments more than the Torah does. Okay, so there's two things over here that needs to be explained. We learn out, and we had this argument before in the Gemara. Children inherit parents, brothers inherit brothers if there's no children. There's a whole order of inheritance in the Torah, right? It doesn't say anything about a wife. One place in the Chumash, it speaks about giving over properties, it says, L'sha'eroi. Which she'er, according to one opinion, means your wife. So therefore, like this. When a wife dies, this that the husband inherits her, if she had no kids, right, is two opinions. Is that biblical or rabbinic? One opinion says, no, the word she'er over there means wife, and the Torah is speaking about inheritance, so therefore the husband biblically inherits the wife if she dies. The other opinion says, no, it's only rabbinic. It's not biblical. So therefore, like this. Rabbi Shimon ben Gamliel says, the husband cannot make a condition not to inherit the wife because it's biblical, and you cannot make a condition against the Torah. Okay? Rav says he's right, but not for that reason. So Gemara is trying to figure out what's Rav's reason for Rabbi Shimon Gamliel. He said the reason is, really, you could go against the Torah. You could go against the Torah in monetary things. Why do we say that even if the husband makes a condition not to inherit the wife, he's going to inherit anyway? Because Rav holds it's rabbinic to inherit the wife. And the Chachamim, many times, when they came to their enactments, they made it more powerful than the biblical ones. Why? Because they wanted people to keep it. Biblical laws, Torah says people keep it. Rabbi laws, a lot of people say, like we have in the show, people say the rabbis were bored. They had a board meeting, that means they were bored, and they came up with a bunch of rules. I mean, obviously it's not true. It's all given to Moshe Sinai. So Rav says, this is what the Gemara is thinking. That Rav said, the halacha is like Rabbi Shimon Gamliel, that the husband inherits the wife anyway. But not because it's biblical and you cannot make a condition against the Torah. On the contrary, Rabbi Shimon Gamliel I disagree with. It's not biblical, it's rabbinic that the husband inherits the wife. But it's more powerful than the Torah. Therefore, if it will be a biblical din, he would be able to make a condition against the Torah. But because it's rabbinic, the rabbis say we're going to strengthen it, you can't even make a condition against us.
So why is he able to make a condition not to
He can't. That's why Rav said that the husband is going to inherit anyway, because he cannot make a condition. So Rabbi Shimon Gamliel says the reason is because it's biblical, you cannot make a condition against the Torah. Rav says no, it's not because it's biblical, it's really rabbinic. But biblical, you could go against the Torah, and rabbinic, not. So the Gemara says there can be. Why not? First of all, the Gemara asks, V'savar Rav Tno Kayim. We just got to saying that Rav says, top of the pay dalid, that Rav says the condition, you could make a condition against the Torah. That's what Rav says. It's not true. Itman, we learned in the din like this. And this is what, in the middle of the Gemara we left off last week, by the way. A guy says to his friend, I'm selling you something, there's no overpricing. Remember we learned last week? Torah says you're not allowed to overprice. Less than a sixth, Doesn't matter. Guy forgives. Over a sixth, the deal is off. If it's exactly a sixth, the deal stays, but you have to give back the extra. Okay? So what happens if a guy comes along to his friend and he says, you know what? I'm selling you this product and there is no cheating on it. In other words, there's no law of overpricing. Rav Amar, yesh le olav ano. Rav said the din of ano still stays because you're going against the Torah. So even though you're making a condition, it's money. You're making a condition that I don't want to keep the Torah law. Rav says, no, you can't do that. Shmuel Amar, ein le olav ano. Shmuel Taka says, there is no ano because you can make a condition. What do we see from this din? Rav holds that even if you go against the Torah, you cannot make such a condition. Rav says, if a guy says to his friend, I'm selling you this $5 thing for $100. So Shmuel says, it's a deal. Are you going against the Torah? But in monetary things, you can make conditions against the Torah. Rav says, no. It's not. You can't go against the Torah. That contradicts what Rav just said. The Gemara wants to say that Rav holds that why does the husband anyway inherit the wife? Because really you could go against the Torah. Right? Really you could go against the Torah. But the Chacham made it just much stronger. So Gemara says you can't say Rav said that because Rav says clearly you can't go against the Torah. If Rav says can't go, that means he holds exactly like Rav Shimon Gamliel. So how can the Gemara say Rav agrees halacha like Rav Shimon Gamliel, but for a different reason? What does that mean? So far he says exactly like Rav Shimon Gamliel. Ella means like this. Halacha Rav Shimon Gamliel, what Rav means is the following. The halacha is like Rav Shimon Gamliel. The Amar who really says, Masna Masha Kotzer B'Tayra T'nor Batel. The halacha is again, Rav says, like Rav Shimon Gamliel, you can't go against the Torah. You cannot make it, even in monetary things. Not in monetary things, for sure you can't. Everybody says that. Even in monetary things, you can't. But Lav Mitamei, why? Because Rav Shimon Gamliel says, Rav Shimon Gamliel says that if she dies, Yiroshena. So he says like this. Rabbi Shimon Gamliel says, you know why the husband still inherits her? Because the Torah says he inherits her, and you can't go against the Torah. What does Rav say? Meisa lo yirashana. Normally the husband biblically doesn't inherit the wife. It's only rabbinic. So, and therefore what's he disagreeing? He says the halacha is like Rabbi Shimon Gamliel anyway, that the husband inherits anyway, even if he says or not. Rabbi Shimon Gamliel would say the reason, like he says clearly in the Mishnah, because you can't make a condition against the Torah. The Torah says the husband inherits the wife. You cannot make a condition to say you can't. Rav says no. You know why? Really, you could make a condition against the Torah. That's not what he's saying. You can make a condition against the Torah. But what does Rav hold? This, that the husband inherits the wife, is only rabbinic. That's it. So the Gemara says, Hai mitamei, and v'loi kehilchasa. So the Gemara says, 1 minute, that doesn't make sense. Because it is the reason. In other words, the Gemara says, Rav says like this, Rabbi Shimon Gamliel is right halachically, but not for the reason. Correct? According to this answer, they're arguing halachically. Rabbi Shimon Gamliel says, biblically a husband inherits the wife, and Rav says only rabbinically. So that's not the reason. They're arguing in halacha. The Gemara's whole thing is, Rav said the halacha is like Rabbi Shimon Gamliel, but not for his reason. So the Gemara explains now what's the difference. Rabbi Shimon Gamliel says the husband inherits biblically, and Rav says rabbinically. Yeah? So the Gemara says, 1 minute. Then they're arguing in halacha. If a husband inherits biblically or rabbinically. So that's not what Rav said. Rav said a statement. The halacha is like Rabbi Shimon Gamliel, but not for the reason he says. What does Rabbi Shimon Gamliel say the reason is? Because you're making a condition against the Torah. And you can't make a condition against the Torah, even in monetary things. Right? So if Rav says, okay, we're arguing though, he says the husband inherits the wife biblically. I say only rabbinically. So then they're arguing in halacha, not reasoning. And that's not what Rav said. Rav's statement before was that the halacha is like exactly Rabbi Shimon Gamliel, but not for his reason. So still trying to figure out what did Rav mean by that.
Oh yeah, what's
Okay, so Gemara says like this. The halacha Rabbi Shimon Gamliel, what Rav means is like this. The halacha is like Rabbi Shimon Gamliel, but not for his reason. Why? What is the halacha? It may say Yiddushana, that even if the husband made a condition that he will not inherit the wife, he inherits the wife anyway. Okay, he's going to inherit the wife anyway.
Is that because it's biblical?
Because it's biblical. And Rabbi Shimon Gamliel clearly says you cannot make a condition against the Torah. Right? But v'lav mitamei, why? He says like this. De'ilu Rabbi Shimon Gamliel savar. Rabbi Shimon Gamliel says like this. B'deraisa in biblical law, tenor batel. You can't make a condition against biblical law. But b'drabanan, tenor kayim. In rabbinic laws, you could make a condition against it. Meaning like this. What's the Gemara interpreting Rabbi Shimon Gamliel now to say? Rabbi Shimon Gamliel says like this. In biblical law, you cannot make a condition against a biblical law. Therefore, the Torah says the husband inherits the wife, you cannot make a condition against it. But in rabbinic law, Rabbi Shimon Gamliel says, you could make a condition against the rabbis. Because listen, this is what the rabbis suggest. You don't want to go, it's money, you could do whatever you want.
Didn't we learn that a wife is allowed to tell the husband, I'll support myself, you don't need to support me, and I'm not going to cook up this and that?
Mm-hmm.
So that's rabbinical too. I mean, that's biblical.
She's not making a condition, though.
Is that biblical?
Here he's saying, I'm making a condition that if you die, I'm not going to inherit you. Yeah? The case you're talking about, the Gemara is going to bring up soon, is a different story. The Chachamim said, the Chachamim said like this. A husband and wife get married, the husband has to support the wife. Right? It's a biblical obligation. Support the wife. It says in the Kesubos, by the way. You have to support the wife. And because of that, whatever she earns goes to the husband. That was the enactment that Chachamim said. Okay? Torah says the husband has to support the wife. Therefore, if the wife works, or she finds something in the street, it goes to the husband, which makes sense. So then the Gemara says the woman. So whose benefit is this really? It's the woman's benefit. Because whether she'll work or not, she gets supported anyway, right? Even if she doesn't find something in the street, a gold necklace, whatever, she still gets supported. But the Chachamim say, listen, the husband is supporting you. Therefore, the Chachamim say, whatever you earn goes to the husband to compensate them a little bit. But even if she doesn't work, he still supports her. So who's that benefit for? It's for the wife's benefit, correct? So therefore, the wife, what happens? She's very wealthy, and or she's making a better living than the husband. She could say to the husband, "You know what? Don't support me, and what I earn, I'm not giving you anyway." It's not a condition.
Didn't we talk about also that like she earns what she earns, she keeps the principal, and he keeps the.
No, that's only what she brings into the marriage, not what she works.
Land.
A woman gets married and she brings land into the marriage, so she keeps the principal, he keeps the fruits.
Oh, okay.
But here's a different story. A husband has a wife, has an obligation, he has to support the wife. Right? So the Chachamim said, okay, therefore, you have to, whatever you earn goes to him. She has the right to say, you know what, don't support me and I won't work for you. It's not a condition, though. She's just saying, I'm not making conditions. I'm just saying,
Agreement.
I don't accept the agreement. I don't want the agreement. The agreement is for my benefit.
But wasn't the agreement already made when?
Okay, for those that play football, you have a penalty.
Yeah.
But you could decline the penalty.
That's true.
Yeah.
See? Good. I'm glad you know that. You could decline the penalty. Why is a penalty? The penalty is for me, right? The other team is penalized. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't play football, you play soccer.
I understand.
Okay, but
Football,
in
soccer.
so therefore the penalty is for my benefit that the other team is penalized, yeah? But for me it's better that they don't get the penalty. So I decline the penalty. It's not a condition in the game. But if a guy makes a condition with his wife that have nothing to do with your properties, and if you die, I'm not inheriting you, that's a condition in the obligation of the husband to the wife, or the wife to the husband. But the Gemara is still trying to figure out what Rav means, by the way. So the Gemara says, 1 minute, there can't be, because if anything, Rav is not arguing on Reb Shimon Gamliel, he's adding to Reb Shimon Gamliel. Reb Shimon Gamliel says, by biblical laws, you cannot make a condition against the Torah. By rabbis, you could. Rav says, even by rabbinic, you can't. So again, that's not what he said. Rav said a statement. The halacha is like Reb Shimon Gamliel, but not for his reasoning. So we're still trying to figure out what that means. So the Gemara says, Ella, it's a different thing. Okay, finally the Gemara answers like this. Ella means like this. Halacha Reb Shimon Gamliel, the halacha is like Reb Shimon Gamliel. The Amar who says, Imeisa Yeroshana, that if she dies, the husband still inherits her. Even though he said no. But what? The Ilu Rabbi Shimon Gamliel says, because Rabbi Shimon Gamliel says, Yerusha Sabal Deraisa, because Rabbi Shimon Gamliel says like this. This that the husband inherits the wife is biblical, like we said before. And whatever you make a condition against the Torah, to no bottle, it's nullified. You can't make such a condition. V'rav Savar, Yerusha Sabal Drabanan, a husband inherits the wife rabbinically, but the Chacham made it din stronger than the biblical one. Basically, the Gemara said that before. What? First of all, good point. The Gemara says Rav many times is able to argue on a Mishnah. Many times, Rav more than any other Ameir. Sometimes the Gemara says rarely. The Gemara says Shmuel Tanahu Polig. Rarely. Rabbi Yechanan, sometimes the Gemara says Tanahu Polig. Why is this? Very simple. Historically, the last of the Tanoim was Rabbi Yehuda Nasi, who compiled Mishnah, right? Rav, Shmuel, Rabbi Yechanan, the Shlokish, that whole generation were disciples of Rabbi. They learned by Rabbi Yehuda Nasi. So they were transitioning into the Amora period of the Gemara. Okay? But because they were that transitional period, sometimes the Gemara says they have the Tana status also. So sometimes, in other words, the rule is like this. The Mishnah ended, there were Tanoim, okay, that ended with Rabbi Yehuda Nasi. Amiroim, which is the era of the Gemara, are not allowed to argue on a Tana. Okay? Later era cannot argue on an earlier era. Therefore, if a question was asked on an Amora from a Tana, and there's no other a second opinion that agrees with the guy, then the Amora is wrong. Because you can't argue on the guy. So if there's two opinions in the Tanoim, you say, I can hold like that guy.
Right.
But if there's no other opinion, bottom line is, an Amora cannot argue on a Tana.
But here you have the Rabbi and you have the Chachamim.
Right. But Rav says the halacha is, he's ruling. He's not arguing it. He says the halacha is like Rabbi Shimon. That's what the Amoraim do. They say who the halacha is like.
Right.
But not for the reason Rabbi Shimon Gamliel gave. Right? So, because if there's a question, sometimes the Gemara asks a question on Rav from a Mishnah or from a Brisa, which would annoy him. And the Gemara answers, you can't ask that question on Rav. He argues. So it's like, you can't ask a question. Rabbi Yehuda says this and Rabbi Meir says this. I mean, you can't ask a question. Rabbi Meir says this, Rabbi Yehuda says this. You can't ask a question, how could Rabbi Yehuda say this when Rabbi Meir says this? He argues. Big deal. Right? They lived in the same time. They argued. Now, what's interesting, after the Gemara finished with Ravina and Ravashi, they were the ones that compiled the Gemara, the next generation could not argue on the Gemara. Then you had, after the era of the Gemara, just to kill time for a second, after the era of the Gemara were called Rabbanus Savroi, the later rabbis. There was the era, a very short period, right after the Gemara.
Is that like Rambam?
No. Right after, huh? No. Rabbanus Savroi was like 1 or 2 generations of rabbis right after the era of the Gemara. After that went to the Go'ainim. Reb Sadia gone, Reb Hai gone, Reb Amram gone, a whole bunch of Go'ainim. After the Go'ainim came the Rishonim. Rashi, Rambam, Rashba, Taisvis, all those, Rambam, all those guys. The one that was considered the last of the Rishonim, unofficially, was the Beis Yosef who wrote the Shulchan Aruch.
Rishonim means first, no?
Yeah.
So why are they called first if they're last?
No, because now we have Achreinim. After the Rishonim, you have the Achreinim.
Why were they called Rishonim if we had Tanaim and Amoraim before them? Why is this called Rishonim?
Because it was just the names of the generations.
Creation of the new generation.
Yeah, the first of the new generation.
One second, so there's Tanaim, there's Amoraim, then there was, after that...
Rabbanus Savroi, but that was a very short period of time history.
Amoraim,
And then Go'ainim,
Go'ainim,
and then Rishonim.
Rishonim,
Today we have prophets. Today we have gods. Bunch of foreign gods.
Rishonim, and then Achareinim.
Right.
So after the period of the Beit Yosef, it's all Achronim, basically.
Correct.
Even till today, right?
Yeah. Well, today is called the Achreinim of the Achreinim.
Tanim.
Tanim, yeah.
So it's really Tanaim, Amoraim, and Go'ainim, really.
Or the Rishonim.
And then Rishonim, and then Achareinim.
Who was the beginning of Achareinim?
Achreinim right after the Beis Yosef.
The one that you say in
The
the middle is
Ramah.
not so very short period of time, we don't really...
Very little from them.
Very little.
Before Tanoim, you had the Nevi'im, that the whole Pirkei Avos, So, Rav over here is not even arguing Reb Shimon Gamliel. He's just saying the halacha is like Reb Shimon, not like the Chachamim, right? But for a different reason. What's the reason? He says the reason is because a husband inherits biblically and you can't make a condition against the Torah, right? He said the reason why is because it's rabbinic, but the rabbi strengthened the law better than the biblical. So that's it.
How do you straighten the law better than biblical? How?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Wait, is that the last one you mentioned? Is that Rav's reasoning?
What?
Is that
Rav is saying the Chazman, when they enacted their laws, I'll give you, first of all, the Rebbe says this in Tanya. He says, for instance, the Chum Institute, you shouldn't eat before davening.
You should what?
Eat. Before davening. The Gemara says, you eat, you chayiv misa.
Eat meaning the bread.
Yeah. The Chum says, you eat, you chayiv misa. Why? How do they enforce the laws? You have to sometimes, because it begins with a weaker premise, because it's not biblical, it's rabbinic, right? But the Torah gave them the right to make these laws, so therefore they strengthen themselves that say, if you do this and this, you're going to be punished. More than if it's a biblical law.
Chayiv Misa is dead.
Yeah.
So if you eat before davening.
Okay, but that's not the practical halach, but that's what the Chum said. Sometimes the Chamurim, there's a Gemara, it says Chamurim divrei seifim, Yosef divrei Torah. The words of the Safmini rabbis is stricter than biblical. Sometimes. I'll give you another example. Okay, I'll give you another example where this then applies. For stealing, you don't get killed. Correct? You shouldn't do it. Not nice for a Jewish boy to steal.
That's what we're talking about Sunday?
Yeah. Okay. But you don't get killed for stealing. Correct?
Yeah.
What happens if there's a stealing epidemic? Stealing epidemic.
A lot of whipping.
Yeah?
Rabbis can enact.
Halacha says, if the Chacham sees really getting out of hand, Chacham can have a right to say and do it. The next guy that steals is going to get killed. You know, you guys are babies. In '68, the riots, remember the '68 riots? Okay, we had my mayor, Mayor Daley, in Chicago, Chavraman, and there was Mayor Lindsay in New York. Remember? You're also a baby.
Rabbi, I was around then.
Okay, good. So there's a guy, Mayor Lindsay in New York,
Yeah.
and there was a guy, Mayor Daley in Chicago.
Yeah.
So when the riot started in New York, Lindsay said, no, leave them go. Don't start up with them. The riots went on for a few weeks. When the riots started in Chicago,
Several weeks.
The riot started in Chicago. Mayor Daley was Irish, by the way. Said, shoot to kill. He told the cops, the next guy that steals, kill him. And you know what? It stopped in an hour. Now,
Did they kill? How much did
they
kill?
shot a few people and stopped because they saw they meant business. That's all.
Looting.
They were looting. Okay.
Wow.
But now, do you get killed? Going back to halacha, right? For stealing, you don't get, the punishment is not death. But sometimes the chacham, biblically, you can't kill the guy, correct? But the chacham have the right that if it's an epidemic, and it's the only way they can stop it is by putting down their feet, hands, whatever. They have a right to do it, and Torah allows them to do it. That's what you see. The rabbis in
Was
Hackney.
there any case in history that happened that we know of?
The riots in New York.
No, I'm talking about our
Yeah, there were times, yeah.
Hey, like when
Yep.
you lock up somebody for their own safety, even though there's no jail term.
But that was just a safety precaution. It wasn't. But yeah, there was a historical time the Chacham said, yeah.
intense.
Shimon ben Shatach killed 80 witchcraft witches,
For
in one day, even though biblically you're not allowed to kill two people the same day. When courts kill the capital punishment, then you're only allowed to kill one person per day. Yeah? So the Gemara says, how did Shimon ben Shatach do it? He killed 80 witches one day. When, you know, he said, it was getting out of hand, and he did it. That's it. The Torah, it's not because the Torah gave him, the Chacham, that power to do it. So even though inheritance is rabbinic, right? Nevertheless, the Chacham said you can't make a condition against that inheritance. That's the power they have to enact certain things that even though in Torah law it might not be 100% correct. But the Torah gave the Chacham the power to do it. There's one in the Pesach season, I mentioned this recently also. They tell stories. There's once Pesach time, and the fishermen knew the Jews needed fish for Pesach, so they hiked up the prices. Everybody, the supply and demand. The Jews aren't going to buy fish anyway. So what did the rabbis do? I'm talking about in the Shtatlach with big rabbis in this. They came out and they said, you're not allowed to eat fish in Pesach.
Well,
They forbade eating fish in Pesach.
no carp?
just not to give this guy
Not this guy, it was a whole bunch of fishermen.
a lot of people.
Price gouging.
And what happened? It happened once, and the guys were stuck with their verstunken fish, with their smelly fish, because nobody bought it, and they learned the lesson. You don't play games with the Chacham could do that.
Can they do today where they say the supermarkets can't price
Yeah,
gouge
yeah.
the Jews on Pesach either? Where are they going to say you
Problem.
can't eat meat,
The
you can't
problem
have- you
today.
can't have drinks?
The problem today is even though I'm on tape. Today's world, if Rabbi A says one thing, Rabbi B will stop to say the opposite. Then you need a lot of rabbis because you need to find so many different opposite things to be able to say. That's how many rabbis you
owns
have.
the supermarkets, so they.
Okay, right then. But now the Gemara asks the question. The Gemara just came to the conclusion that Rav holds husbands inheriting the wife is rabbinic. Right? That's what we just said. So the Gemara says, Rav Savi Rushas about Rabban is not true. Rav doesn't hold that the husband inheriting the wife is rabbinic. I'll show you that Rav holds is biblical. What happens? But tonight it says in the Mishnah like this. Rabbi Yechim ben Breka was the Tana says in the Mishnah, if a guy inherits his wife, yachzir lebnei mishpacha. Okay, now let me explain this then. In Israel, there's no permanent sale. Correct? It's no permanent sale. You basically sell until Yovel. In the Yovel, the Jubilee year, the 50th year, all the Torah says, you're not allowed to sell the land for permanency. Parshas Bahar, Hashem said the earth is mine. You could basically sell until Yovel. So basically, it's when you sold property in the second base of Mikdash, halfway mid, there was already Yovel anymore. But during the first base of Mikdash, when you sold land to somebody, it was only until Yovel. It went back to the original owner. So when you bought land, the price of the land basically was how many years left to Yovel.
Like a lease almost.
Yeah, it was at least, I don't know what you call it, lease, buy option, I don't know. You own the land. No, you owned it.
It reverts.
No, you own the land. It's yours.
You're leasing.
Yeah, but the guy can't come before Yovel and take it back.
It's a prepaid lease.
Okay, but the bottom line is, you own the land until Yovel. As soon as Yovel comes, the land goes back to... Okay. What happens if somebody inherits somebody?
They inherit the land.
Then the land doesn't go back to the original owner in Yovel. Correct? It's yours. It's not bought. You buy land, it has to go back in Yovel. When you inherit land, it's yours permanent. Even after Yovel. Okay, now. Rabbi Yechim ben Breka says like this.
Wait a second.
What?
That breaks the return of the land on Yovel if somebody dies after they've acquired the land?
Mm-hmm. We're not done yet. The Gemara is going to explain what this means. But if I give you a gift of land, or if I sell you land, it only is there until Yovel, it goes back. Got it? Very simple. Now, what happens, Rabbi Yechim ben Breka says like this. If a guy inherits his wife, yachzir lebnei mishpacha. When it comes to Yovel, you have to give back the land. You have to give it back to the original owner. V'yanakala min adamim. And then he deducts money from them. Okay? Meaning, the husband has to sell back the land to the family for a cheaper price. We're going to explain the whole thing in a second. Vavinim Bey, and we ask a question, Michael Suffer, one second. This doesn't make sense. What does Rabbi Yechim ben Breka say? If he says inheritance is biblical, that means the husband inherits the wife biblical, he says, Amay yachzir. Why is the land going back? I mentioned before, if you inherit land, it doesn't go back in Yovel. Yeah? So Rabbi Yechim ben Breka says, if a husband inherits the wife, it goes back in Yovel. So 1 minute. If he holds his biblical inheritance, why is it going back? It should be his forever. V'id and if it's only rabbinic, so how does money get into? Why is he deducting money? Then he has to give back the land. Why is he getting money back? Right? If it's biblical inheritance doesn't go back during Yovel. If it's a rabbinic inheritance, meaning it's a gift, because the Torah says you don't inherit, then how's money? But Amar Rav and Rav says, what does it mean? La'elam kasava yerushas about the eraisa. Really, Rabbi Yechon ben Breika says it's biblical. Not what Rav just said that it's rabbinic, by the way. Rav just got through saying in the Gemara it's rabbinic. Not like Reb Shimon Gamliel. Okay, but let's see the Gemara. So why does he have to give it back to the guys, to her family? Right? If he inherits biblically, he should keep it forever. Because it's speaking Harisha Ishte Beis HaKvaris. His wife owned a cemetery, meaning, in simple English, a family plot. She owned a family plot. Now she dies. Who inherits it? The husband. The problem is, you know what embarrassment that is to the wife's family? That they're losing the family plot? So therefore, Mishum Pagam Mishpacha, because of a disgrace to a wife's family, okay, they say they should take the money and then return the property. Okay? So therefore it has to be compensation even before Yovel. Meaning, they could even do it before Yovel. They could say, we want back the land and we'll pay you for it.
And he must accept it.
And the Chachamim say we have to do it because otherwise it's a blemish to the family. The girl's family is not going to be able to be buried in their own plots.
Right.
But Amir Abanan, so the Chachamim say, you know what? Lishkol Damer v'lahadir. Take money and give back the land. Meaning, give it back to the family. Let the family buy it off you. The wife's family. Umayin akulem damim. So what does it mean, deduct money? What should he deduct? The value of his wife's grave. Why? Because the husband has to bury the wife. So he would have to bury her anywhere, somewhere. So they don't have to pay for the wife's grave because the husband has to pay for it. Why should they pay for it? Kedetanya, like it says clearly in the Braisa, Hameich kivrei v'derech kivrei, if some sells his burial plot, or the path to the burial plot, Mamodim umakem espeda, the site designated for the stops along the way. You know, you used to go to a funeral, they stop along the way. Or makem espeda, the place where they eulogize the person, b'ayim b'nei mishpacha. The family can come, even if you sell a cemetery, the family still has a right to bury their people there. Why? Because of blemish of family. You know what it is not to be buried in your own plots with the rest of your family?
So in other words, he would inherit it, but on the condition that they can bury
Right.
it. Yeah, so he
Right.
would inherit it.
So the Gemara's question is, Rav just got through saying right before this, that inheritance is rabbinic, and here Rav says, Rabbi Yechon ben Breika holds it's biblical. So which one is it? He's contradicting himself.
Yes, the rabbis have the power to enact it.
No. So Gemara has a different thing. Rav l'tamei, the Rabbi Yechon ben Breika come, but let's like svirale. Rav is only explaining what Rabbi Yechon ben Breika holds. This you have in the Gemara many times. Somebody will explain something in the Mishnah, which seemingly contradicts what they themselves hold, and the Gemara says not a problem. They're explaining that opinion, but they don't agree with it. That means Rav is explaining that according to Rabbi Yechon ben Breika, the husband inherits the wife is biblical. And because of that, because it's a cemetery and the wife wants to be buried with the plot, you have to give back the cemetery. Right, for money. But Rav himself personally holds that inheritance is rabbinic. This that a husband inherits the wife is only rabbinic.
You concur?
You can't argue on the Gemara. Achur Chaviv. Okay. Let's just start the next Mishnah.
Can I open it?
Huh? Yeah, I was going to tell you, open the door before. Let me just give an introduction to this Mishnah. It's also very interesting then. A guy dies. It happens. Yeah? He has very little money left over. He has a wife that has to collect the ksuba, and he has debtors that he owes money to. But there's not enough for everybody. Who gets it? Very common. possibility.
The wife
Say
has
it one more-
Why?
say it one more time.
A guy dies.
Yeah.
He left over, let's say, $500.
Okay.
Meanwhile, he has a debt of $1,000 to somebody, or $500 to somebody. Plus, he has a wife that has to collect the ksuba. So who gets it?
Depends
The
to the
wife
time.
has priority.
Depends to the time of the death. Or
The wife,
Why?
because she had the first priority.
Wife is
Chapter the-
biblical.
She had the
And
first.
paying back a debt?
Nah.
I know it's not the Jewish thing to do.
No.
She had the first priority from the.
By the way, just for the record, biblically, Priyas Balchev is a mitzvah. You have to paying back a debt. I know it's contrary to Jewish belief, but paying back debts is biblical. I know Jews think, nah. It's biblical.
Bankruptcy?
Huh?
A bankruptcy?
There's no bankruptcy in Torah. Sorry.
Death is bankruptcy.
No, the kids have to pay. The state pays.
The state pays it.
Sure. That's what happens over here.
Okay, so who?
But he has kids. There's a third equation here. The guy dies with kids. Okay?
How old are the kids?
Doesn't matter. 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70,
Oh,
90.
not real.
You know the store that has a sign, we only give credit to people over 90 accompanied by their parents. Then you'll get credit. Okay, but now kids say, we want the money. The wife says, I have to collect my ksuba. The debtors say, we need to collect our debts.
So who's priority?
Who's priority? Okay, so let's see what the Mishnah says. Misha Mace, a guy that died. He left with a wife who needs to collect the ksuba. Balchev, creditors who want their money. The Yoshim and heirs, and who are making claim to the money. Okay? So the kids say, we want to inherit the estate without paying the debts. Right? The wife says, give me the ksuba. So obviously, if there's enough money, everybody gets paid, correct? I mean, that's the normal thing. Okay, so he says, but he had, not in his own estate, he gave somebody something to watch, which is very valuable, or somebody else holding money, the guy that died. That means there is money, not enough for everybody, by somebody else.
He loaned somebody else money and
Either he lent somebody else money, he didn't pay him back yet, or he gave a pikon something to watch. Something very expensive. Reb Tarfon says, what do you do? Who do you get that money to? You give them to the weakest amongst them. What does the weakest mean? Either the widow or the creditor. We don't know yet. The Gemara is going to explain what that means. Not the heirs. Because the estate owes them the money.
You stake what?
The estate owes them the money. Rabbi Kiva says, no. There's no rachmanis in din. Ella yinasan yoshim, give it to the kids.
And they're obligated to pay his credit.
Right now, we don't know.
Is this only male?
That's a pretty
Yorshim?
tough view.
1 second, we're not done. I'm just starting it.
Is this only male Yorshim or female?
Yeah.
too?
No, well, if there's no sons, then the girls, there's such like boys.
Well, we have girls and boys.
Only boys get.
Only the boys.
Only boys get. So why does Rabbi Kiva say you give it to the heirs? So he says why. Shekulim tzrichim shvua, ve'in yoshim tzrichim shvua. A woman collecting the ksuba, or debtors, creditors, that got, the din is they have to swear that they never got it yet.
Creditors.
When a wife comes to collect the ksuba from the kids, normal case, husband dies, right? The wife now collects the ksuba. She comes to the kids, they pay the ksuba. The din is, they have to swear, she has to swear, that she never got it yet. Because maybe she got paid already and the kids don't know about it. Or the creditors, they said, 1 minute, your father owed me $1,000. Yeah, the kids don't know. So the thing is, they have to swear. The kids can't swear. They don't know. So who swears and takes? Remember we learned this Gemara a long time ago. In Torah, you never swear and take. You swear to get out of payment. But a few exceptions, when you can't swear and get out of it, because you don't know. The father died, he has $1,000 debt. Yeah? The kids can't swear he never paid it. How do they know? The kids can't say the wife never collected the ksuba. Maybe he paid her already. I don't know. So they can't swear to get out of paying. So Rabbi Akiva says, who has a stronger hand over here? The Yoshim. They get it without swearing. The wife has to swear to get it. The creditors have to swear to get it. And the guy just gets it. So who's stronger? The heirs are stronger than the other two. If they're stronger, they have a bigger right to it. They get it.
Oh, that's how they determine this?
That's what Rabbi Akiva says. Says Shukun Sichon Shuva, but Vene Yoshim Sichon Shuva, the kids don't have to swear. The same thing, a similar case. And Niach Peiros Tulushim in Akarka. The deceased left detached fruit in the field, not connected to the ground. The din is Kol HaKedem Mem Zocha. First come, first serve. Okay? Meaning, it's not in the heir's domain. So it's like free-for-all. So the heirs have no proof that it's theirs. So, yeah, if the heirs get it first, they get it. But first come, first serve.
It's free for all or just for people, interested parties?
Anybody.
Even though it's private land?
Mm-hmm. No, it's not part of the land.
It's inside a farm.
No, it's not in his property.
Wow.
That they could be it. If it's on the property, they acquire automatically the land, they automatically get that. It's somewhere else. Okay, now, what happens? What happens, okay, there was loose fruit around, and let's say your ksuba is $200, the wife went and grabbed $300 worth of stuff. Or the creditor collected Yosef al Chayvei. Okay? Now, who gets the leftover? Reb Tarfon says you give it to the weaker one. Okay? Meaning, either whoever, in this case is not, either the creditor got more, took more, or the wife took more. So now there's a surplus. So who gets it? Not the heirs, not the kids, but the other, either the widow or the creditors. Rabbi Akiva Omar Emerachim Medin. You don't have mercy in din. You Yoshim give it to the heirs. Why? Again, Rabbi Akiva says the woman has to swear to get it. The creditor has to swear to get it. The heirs don't have to swear to get it. So they're the stronger ones over here. I'll give you an example. The Torah says, "They said the predol." It's a pasuk in Chumash. You can't have a din Torah. The Torah says a rich guy comes with a poor guy, and the rich guy is demanding money from the poor guy in the din Torah. Yeah. So the judge, the dayan would say, come on, this guy's rich, this guy's poor. Come on, let me help out the poor guy. Yeah. Torah says you're not allowed to do that. It's a pasuk in Chumash. Why? The guy owes him the money. He owes him the money. What the heck? I mean, you can't say because he's a chmonis on him. Ein merachim b'din. That's the din.
No social justice here.
If I owe you $1,000, yeah, I owe you $1,000, and you don't have a document, and you don't have witnesses, yeah, but everybody knows OJ killed him. Everybody knows you owe him the money. Yeah, everybody knows you owe him the money. Right? It's obvious. But you have no proof. What is Bezin Paskin? Sorry, sir.
Let me ask a question.
Money, you don't have proof.
Get his money back?
No, how? You have to prove it.
If the based in Paskin, because there's no evidence, he doesn't pay him the money. The question is, how is the judgment from Shammai in this case?
Hashem will make him lose money either way. That's God's business.
Understood.
But what's Torah
No,
say?
Hashem's money is still guilty. It's just
The Torah says, "Hametzim chaveri olavarei." You want to extract money from somebody, you need to prove it, right? Ayis rachmanis on the guy Nebuch. You know, it is no proof. You know what? Courts can't have pity in judgment. A guy committed murder. We spoke about this not long ago on a Shabbos. A judge, somebody committed a murder, yeah, and the judge says, "Oh, he's such a rachmanis on the guy. I'm going to kill him." You know, okay, he killed him. That guy's dead already. Come on, how can I have to have a rachmanis on this guy? Why should he also? The Torah says you're not allowed to. He's chayim misa. He got misa. What do you know?
So, I don't get the argument between Rabbi Tarfon and Rabbi Akiva. What are they arguing about?
Reb Tarfon says you give it to the weaker ones, not to the heirs.
So you have Rahmana.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but they deserve it. It's not something that they don't deserve. He owes them the money.
So maybe they're not arguing.
No, he says they wanted to get it. Rabbi Akiva says no, the heirs get
Give
it.
it to the heirs.